first thank you for the opportunity of speaking. I suppose I better say who I am first. I was actually born in County Wicklow, which I know one of our great playwrights, J.M. Singh, he wrote Travels in 1910, Travels in Wicklow, West Kerry and Connemara. And he said of my county, he said, it was a county that had turned its back to the sea. And in some ways, I think, perhaps as a country, we have done that. So I left and I fished in Inishowen. I fished for 22 years. I fished on different boats, RSW mackerel boats and whitefish boats, and I had my own vessel. I have had the opportunity to speak to the European Parliament on fisheries management. I was a board member of Iascaigh Mhara, the Irish Sea Fisheries Board, and I was also a board member of the Loughs Agency, which is one of the bodies set up under the Good Friday Agreement. Inishowen is about 40,000 people. It's Ireland's largest peninsula. It's in the very north of the country. It's surrounded by Lough Foyle and Lough Swilly. Lough Foyle would be disputed water, and there's always been issues there. Especially in relation to licensing and that type of thing, because it's almost impossible. So I suppose to give you a background, Inishowen also it's politically isolated from Northern Ireland in that it is, the north is besides. I have to travel 20 miles south to get to the north, and it's geographically isolated from the rest of the Republic. In fact, where I live, the major town in Donegal is Letterkenny, and I actually live closer to Islay in Scotland than I do to Letterkenny. So there's a sense of isolation, and there's a sense of we can and in some ways bloody mindedness. We will do our own thing. Inishowen Rural Development is it's a local development company. It was set up in 1996, and it does a number of projects and programs. They would include, SICAP, which is to do with social inclusion, the LEADER program, which I'll talk about some of the projects we have done in relation to that. And then we have things like rural social schemes, job initiatives. They really are programs for people who are in various, it could be fishermen or farmers in rural social scheme, who are part-time employed, and gives them money towards, and they could be working in community centres or wherever. So we have a wide range of areas and backgrounds that we deal. I suppose as well, I would just like to say, when we talk about the bioeconomy, the way I see it anyway, is that the bioeconomy is in some ways where we want to get to. It's and how do we develop the bioeconomy, and how do we move in that direction? So the bioeconomy, blue economy, and they're interchangeable in many ways. But one of the fundamental things that we have thought about is working with children. Helping them face the sea, helping them see what's about them. So, a number of projects that we have done initially. And now, when I say we have done, very often it is we have facilitated others to do, and other people, throughout Inishowen have came on board. One of the first things was, a shark camp. And this was, aimed at education and inspiring a generation of marine scientists and young people around their coasts to build new skills, competence, and promote creativity. And the Irish shark and basking sharks were fundamentally behind this and worked with us on this program. There's an introduction to marine biology, safety at sea, planning and undertaking scientific works, boating and surveying. The basking shark is, it comes in June, comes in large numbers around the Malin Head, which is the most northerly part of Ireland, the most northerly part of Inishowen. So there would have been 10 trainees initially in that, and they took part in that. So following on from that, there would have been a coastal explorers training program. This would have been done with effectively people in transition year. That'd be about, for people outside of Ireland, I would say 14 or 15 years of age, that 15 years of age, that type of age. This actually course, and I can come to this a little bit, was a follow-up to the Newfoundland Coastal Explorers program, which was done in Newfoundland. And it was a 10-week course. It focused on marine and maritime development, young people living in coastal communities, tailored training programs about science and environment. And you know, it was actually used by some people in getting into third level institutions and courses to do with the marine. The fact that they'd taken part in this was seen as beneficial. They had a unique opportunity to take part in the training programs and also to present them. There was a great event where they presented their findings to the general community, and I think it certainly helped in the practical, the skills that people would need going forward. That was the showcase event in Dunree, which is mentioned there. So again, this is science and related, and it's getting young people, and as I say, getting them out on the boats, doing science, being part of the blue economy as such. Okay. So another program we did was called the Monster Munch program. Now, this program, again, it was dealing with local people and local schools in particular. We had a program which would come to again, which was in relation to tagging basking sharks and seeing where they go. Actually, there was an opinion before this tagging took place that mostly they said around Britain and Ireland, and it was a major surprise when some of these basking sharks were found off West Africa, and it was written up in different French scientific journals, etc. But the idea was that the schools and the people adopted a shark. They seen where it went, and it was to do with geography, to do with all kinds of history and marine areas. So they adapted a tag shark, and they followed it, and there was a number of projects, including arts projects, which were in development. This was, as I say, this was another thing. At the end of it, they made a very large basking shark, which still sits in the Maritime Museum in Greencastle. And again, it's just linking the shark to the local community. People in Malin Head as well used the basking shark then as a symbol and for tourism development within their area. So that's it. We are also now we're linking in with a new project, which is the Blue Sea project with Malta, Spain, Netherlands, Finland, Ireland, Greece, and it is IDP will be the lead partner. And again, this is to encourage blue economy growth, to sustainability, collaboration, and connections. This is only starting. We've just really received the money a short while ago, and we're looking forward to developing it in the future. Micro enterprises in coastal communities who need capacity building, and again, what was mentioned earlier, it's very important that we learn from what happens in other areas and other countries. We live on an island and we live in a peninsula, so we view ourselves as a forward and outward-looking region, and that's what we want to do. Other projects which just aren't here, I'm just thinking of when I was talking about Islay, we had a program called the Column Kill Challenge, where we built a traditional boat with a festival on either side, one in Islay and one in Greencastle in Donegal, and a men's team and a women's team rowed across the northern approaches, the Atlantic, from Islay to Donegal, and it was a great success, and it was a great building of capacity in the area and coastal communities. So other projects which are more, there's an Inishowen algae project. Now the idea here is actually to develop algae farming on land. So people came in here, and the idea was to get bad land and to develop a system for growing algae and to do it, computerize it. And it is ongoing. I haven't got the results back, but they're looking at it. And the idea, as people know, in perfect conditions, algae can take carbon out of the atmosphere at 400 times the rate of forestry. So it's another type of project that we're doing, where that they have secured land from Donegal County Council, and the proof of concept is still ongoing. We were involved with
2 minutes, Andrew. Okay.
Sorry, we were involved with the County Council in their new project, which basically their new project is a resource innovation network for European waste. We specifically looked at fish waste and seen what could be done in relation to fish waste, and how we could use fish waste. I mean, the word waste has really been done, because they are valuable proteins and how they can be used. So there are a number of people who are involved. We're also involved in the Laurentic project. The Laurentic project, effectively, it came about from a shipping disaster where there were people from Newfoundland who drowned. It has turned into a forum and an economic conference, especially the blue economy. Initially, it was between Ireland and Newfoundland. We now have links and strong representation from both Norway and Iceland, and I think the Faroe Islands might be coming on. And the idea is, I'm just back from Newfoundland recently. I suppose we're looking at how other people. I looked, in Newfoundland, how they dealt with issues. I don't know if, in Fogo Island, in different areas, but this is a collaboration that's going forward, and we're looking at climate change projects in the Northern Arctic and periphery regions, and we have most of the actors in Ireland. If I start naming them, I could end up missing out, but certainly Udras, the Marine Institute, ourselves, Donegal County Council, Atlantic Technical University, and many others in Ireland, and similar organisations in other countries, how we can learn and share. And I think I must be nearly finished now. So if anyone has any questions you want to ask, I'll be more than glad to answer. Thank you very much.
Andrew, all very interesting.